Hey guys, this is LuigiRocks132, and we are ranking the top 16 Zelda dungeons. Number 16, Misery Meyer. Misery Meyer is first seen in The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and it's a swamp dungeon. This entrance to the palace is in the Swamp of Evil, a miserable place found of sunlight that endures torrential rain. Inside the explosive mire are numerous portals and well-placed holes, and a slimy eye boss awaits. Number 15, Angler's Tunnel from The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Angler's Tunnel is the fourth dungeon in Link's Awakening and is shaped like a fish. What I like about this dungeon is the color and the vibrance and just a classic Zelda feel. Number 14, the Deku Tree from The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. The Deku Tree is the first dungeon you see in the game. You get fire, and you have to use fire on the cobwebs to defeat a... Number 14, Future Spirit Temple. The Spirit Temple is found in the Gerudo Valley in Ocarina of Time. You have to migrate between past and present to get through the Wall Masters and just the evil pyramid-like monsters that inhabit. And of course, a boss awaits you at the end. Number 13, the Stone Tower Temple from Majora's Mask. The Stone Tower Temple is the last dungeon of Majora's Mask after you face Majora at the Icona Canyon. The Fierce Deity Mask can be obtained here, and you can defeat skeletons and a lost city and many, many more. Number 12, Oracle Games. Gnarled Root Dungeon and the Ancient Tomb. The Gnarled Root Dungeon is one of my favorite dungeons because it is based on level 1 from the original Legend of Zelda, also known as the Eagle Dungeon. And the Ancient Tomb because just the puzzles and the bosses, and just I like desert levels mainly. Dragon Roost Cavern from The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Dragon Roost Cavern is the second dungeon in the game where you're inside a giant volcano. You have to avoid the goblins, jump over lava, and defeat Goma at the end. Number 10, Death Mountain from Four Swords. Four Swords is a game on the Game Boy Advance which allows you to control four links with a Game Boy Advance. Death Mountain is a dungeon where you fight monsters and solve puzzles using 4 links. Number 9, The Pyramid from Four Swords Adventures. The Pyramid is fun because I said in the last time, I like desert levels, and that just controlling 4 links and adventures is really cool. Just like the bosses, the dungeons, and the enemies are really fun. Number 7, Deepwood Shrine from the Minish Cap. The Deepwood Shrine is one of my favorites because the puzzles and the boss is really fun. First you start out moving some things around, then you go on lily pads by using the gust jar, and you have to beat a boss at the end, which is a giant green shoe. Number 7, Temple of Time from The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. The Temple of Time is one of my favorite dungeons because it is a direct reference to Ocarina of Time. Because when you first go into the dungeon and the sealed temple, or whatever it's called, you see the OG Ocarina of Time Temple of Time. Heck, as you go through, you even find Goma at the end, You have to get the Dominion Rod to progress further, and so much more. Number 6. Arbiter's Grounds from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. While we're on the topic of Twilight Princess, this dungeon would even make King Tut proud, because this dungeon has the best music when you enter the Gerudo Desert, and the dungeon's pretty fun. With sure, it's kind of creepy with all the Redeads, but it's actually pretty fun because you get the spinner, bite skyward, and many more. Number 5. Sand Sanctuary. While we're on the topic of deserts, the Sand Sanctuary from Spirit Tracks is amazing because, yet again, I just like desert levels, and the bomb puzzles, the trains, the phantoms, all of that. What makes Spirit Tracks a fun game. And of course, a boss of D. Number 4. The Fire Temple from The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. First sand, now fire was this temple. In the Fire Temple, the main gimmick is you have to use the boomerang and chuck it at like some sort of switch to activate something. And of course the boss at the end, Quagma. Number 3, Earth Temple, Skyward Sword. While we're on the topic of fire, let's talk about the Earth Temple from Skyward Sword. The music is just wow. The puzzles are fun where you have to roll across the ball, and of course you defeat an enemy. At the end, you beat both Girahim and Skaljarin. Number 2. Lorule Castle from The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. Lorule Castle is the last dungeon in the game for The Legend of Zelda, Link Between Worlds, where you fight bosses, and it's a sequel to The Link to Past. Link Between Worlds, this dungeon sees you first going into by solving lava puzzles, sand puzzles, all sorts of puzzles. And the orchestra music picks up every time you get closer. Eventually, when you get the final boss, it gets a full-on orchestra where you beat Yuga Ganon and Yuga, the evil banjo of Hyrule. Lorule. Number 1, Hyrule Castle, Various. You saw it coming. Hyrule Castle, the top of the town. Hyrule Castle is Zelda's home base, and basically into the heart of Hyrule. Hyrule Castle has unique twists in each game, to being flooded, to being floating in Ocarina of Time, and even being possessed by the Calamity in Breath of the Wild.